Dale Earnhardt Jr. just lit a match and threw it directly into the NASCAR Hall of Fame debate. And he's saying what a lot of fans have been afraid to admit out loud. AJ Foyt, one of the greatest racers to ever strap into a machine. A legend across multiple disciplines. But in NASCAR, Jr. says the numbers don't add up, and the man himself might not belong in the sport's most hallowed room. Let's break down exactly what he said and why this argument is about to split the racing community right down the middle. Here's a fast breakdown. Dale Earnhardt Jr., a 2021 Hall of Fame inductee, went on his Dale Jr. Download podcast and made it crystal clear. AJ Foyt's name doesn't belong on the NASCAR Hall of Fame ballot, at least not ahead of the drivers who built this sport from the ground up. Foyt's NASCAR resume is thin. Across 128 Cup Series starts, he grabbed 7 wins and 9 poles. Yes, one of those wins was the 1972 Daytona 500, a massive moment. But beyond that, no championships, no sustained presence. He was a visitor in the stock car world, not a resident. Junior's argument isn't just about stats, though. He went deeper. He said Foyt was cantankerous and difficult and problematic during his NASCAR stints. And in Junior's view, if you didn't elevate the sport, if you didn't talk it up, build it up, carry the flag, then why should you be enshrined next to the people who did? Now, let's add the context that makes this conversation uncomfortable but necessary. AJ Foyt is an absolute titan in motorsports. 7-time USAC champion, 4-time Indianapolis 500 winner, Le Mans winner. The man drove anything with wheels and won in everything. He's one of the few names that transcends racing disciplines, but that's the problem. The NASCAR Hall of Fame is not the Motorsports Hall of Fame. It's supposed to honor those who left a permanent mark on this sport, NASCAR specifically. Foyt was nominated in 2023 and 2024. He didn't get in either time. He was named one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers, which is a well-deserved recognition of his overall legacy. But a Hall of Fame plaque, that's a different conversation. Jr. even compared it to William Byron, pointing out that Byron has already achieved more in NASCAR than Foyt ever did, and yet nobody's rushing to put Byron in the Hall. The standard has to be consistent. This is where the analysis gets sharp. Dale Jr. introduced a criteria that doesn't always get talked about in these debates: impact beyond the finish line. He asked a series of blunt questions. Did this person lift the sport up? Did they go around talking about how incredible it is to race in NASCAR, or did they create issues, cause problems, and treat stock car racing like a pit stop in a larger career? That's a massive distinction, because the Hall of Fame isn't just a trophy case for wins and poles. It's a museum of the sport's identity, and the people enshrined there are supposed to represent what NASCAR is and what it aspires to be. Foyt, for all his brilliance, was never fully invested in stock car racing. He showed up, won some races, caused some chaos, and moved on to the next discipline. It's not a knock on his talent. It's just a reality check on what the Hall of Fame is actually for. The risk here is that fans will hear Junior's comments and accuse him of disrespecting a legend. But if you listen to what he actually said, he's making a structural argument. He's asking, should crossover greatness automatically qualify you for a sports-specific Hall of Fame when there are dozens of drivers who dedicated their entire careers to building NASCAR into what it is today? The fan reaction is already splitting right down the middle. One side is fired up, agreeing with Jr. completely. They're saying the Hall of Fame should be for NASCAR lifers, the guys who bled stock car racing, not legends who passed through. They're pointing to drivers like Harry Gant, Buddy Baker, and others who are still waiting for their moment, while Foyt keeps getting nominated based on a resume built elsewhere. The other side is calling this disrespectful. They argue that greatness is greatness, period. Foyt's Daytona 500 win alone should carry weight. And if you're going to put drivers in based on cultural impact, Foyt's name carries more weight outside the NASCAR bubble than almost anyone. Either way, Jr. just made this a national conversation heading into the next Hall of Fame voting cycle. Let's look at 2 possible paths forward. Best case, the Hall of Fame voters take Jr.'s arguments seriously and recalibrate their criteria. Future classes focus more on drivers who gave their prime years to NASCAR, creating a clearer identity for what the Hall represents. Foyt gets celebrated in other ways because he's still a legend, just not with a plaque in Charlotte. Worst case, this turns into a polarizing fight that overshadows future Hall of Fame classes. Every nomination cycle becomes a referendum on who really belongs, and Foyt's legacy gets dragged into a debate that diminishes what he actually accomplished. Nobody wins when the conversation becomes about exclusion instead of celebration. So here's the real question. Should the NASCAR Hall of Fame be reserved for drivers who built their careers entirely in stock car racing? Or does a legend like AJ Foyt deserve a spot simply because he's one of the greatest to ever turn a wheel, regardless of the discipline? I want to hear your take. Drop it in the comments right now. And if you want straight, no-spin analysis on the biggest debates in motorsports, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. SportsWire USA keeps you locked in. Let's talk racing and call